Hey, what's up everybody, Retro Gaming Guy here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to build your own custom Batocera build, and in this video we're going to walk through how to download Batocera to an SSD or hard drive, how to add your BIOS files, how to add your ROMs, how to establish a network connection so you can get internet on your Batocera build, and using the internet you'll be able to add additional themes, you'll be able to scrape metadata for your games and game collections, and I'm also going to show you guys really quickly how to map a controller on Batocera so you can dive into your games. So the point of this video is to be a crash course on how to set up a Batocera build. There's going to be a lot of additional things that you probably want to do to better your build and to just create a better experience for yourself. So I encourage you to drop down to the description of this video once you're done with this and check out all the links that I provide for you guys, because I've done so many videos on different tutorials for various things within Batocera. I've covered how to scrape via the Screenscraper, which is probably the best way to actually go about scraping your metadata for games and game collections. I've also done videos on how to set up a bunch of different controllers, how to set up arcade sticks for the arcade sort of feel to games, how to fix audio issues, just a ton of things that will help you get through this process of setting up a Batocera build and making it the best build possible. So let's dive into it and get started. All right, so here we are on my Windows 11 PC. So we're going to just open up a web browser first, and we'll go up here to our search bar, and we're going to go to Batocera.org. Once we come to Batocera.org, you're going to see Batocera Linux 34 right here on the opening page. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and down here you're going to pick what device you're going to be using on here. So today I'm using this on a gaming PC. So I'm going to go over here to standard desktop / laptop. If you're using Apple, you'll go over here and you see over here. And then if you're using, obviously, handhelds, you're going to have to pick which handheld you're using or computer board and go that route. So I'm going to go up here again to X64, and we're going to click on either torrent file or direct link. I'm actually going to just use direct link on here. It takes a little bit longer. You can see the count on here. It's going to kind of fluctuate depending on your internet speed and all of that. But we're going to let this fully download, and we'll come back once this image is complete. And I'm guessing it's going to be around like 35 minutes or so. You can see that it started out just over an hour. It's already coming down to like the 50-minute, 45-minute mark and kind of bouncing back and forth. So I typically find about 35, 40 minutes for these to fully download. So we'll come back once this is completely downloaded. All right, so now while that is downloading, we're going to go up here, open another tab. We'll jump over to Google, and we're going to open up Balena Etcher. And there it is right there. And we're going to download this. So we'll click through. This is their website. It's balena.io/etcher/ is the web address up here at the top. I'll put a link in the description of this video too if you want to just click over. And right here, if you're using Windows like I am, you're just going to go ahead, click right here, and you can pick which version that you want. I'm going to just go along with the Windows version up at the top. That's going to download over here now as well. So we'll let this download. This should be really quickly. Should take about 2 minutes or so. So we'll let this do its thing. Come back here once it's complete. All right, so our etcher has just completed. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. And my Batocera download is still downloading in the background. It's not listed here unless I were to open up the full list, but we're going to open up the etcher here, and this is how this is going to look. So we're going to just kind of let this sit. Once the Batocera download completes, we'll jump back in here. All right, so our Batocera download has just completed in the background. It just minimized here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to my File Explorer, and I'm going to go into Downloads. So here it is right here. I'm going to just click on it. Now I'm going to right click, and you want to make sure that you have some type of tool to unzip this. So if I go into Show More Options, I actually have 7-zip in here. I love 7-zip. Some people love it. Some people prefer something else. So I'm just going to go over here, now drop down to Extract Files, confirm it with OK, and that's going to fully extract. It should be pretty quick. And here it is right here, located now as this image file. And here, instead of GZ file, it says just file folder for type. So now we can X out of this. Now I'm going to take a SSD and I'm going to use a SATA adapter. You can see on the corner of the screen here what that product looks like. I'll put a direct link in the description of this video so you can drop down there, click over and pick up one of these on Amazon if you don't already have one. Cool thing about these is they're going to work on both SSDs as well as hard drives. So whichever route you want to take, the same adapter is going to work perfectly. So I'm going to be using an SSD today, and I'm going to connect the USB end into my PC. And you can hear the little confirmation there that the computer is reading that. So what we're going to do here on our etcher now is we are going to go in here to flash from file, and we're going to locate our Batocera extracted image. So this is going to be the unzipped one, not the zipped one. We're going to click open. Here we can click on this, hit open, and now we're going to select our target. So here you can see it's a Sovereign branded adapter. So inside that I have 512 gigabyte SSD, and it says here large drive. So we are going to go ahead and hit select on here, and now we're going to click flash. And this says, warning, you are about to erase an unusually large drive. And that's fine. I actually had just some stuff that I was experimenting with on this SSD. So there is data on here. It's actually a previous Batocera build that I was just messing around with way back when. So we're going to go ahead and just hit yes, I'm sure. Just again, make sure that you're only clicking this if you're positive that you're okay with overriding whatever is on your SSD. And if it's a blank SSD, then there's obviously no issue with that at all. So we're just going to say yes, I'm sure. And it's going to do its thing here. Here it says, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Yes, we're going to go ahead and hit yes on that. So here you can see it's flashing. This should go pretty quickly here as well, since this is just the Batocera image. You're not adding a Batocera image with games and collections and all that pre-installed on there. So the whole thing is going to go very quickly here. Should take maybe 2 minutes at the most. And there we go, flash complete. So now we can go ahead and exit out of all of these windows here. And that means that our SSD now has Batocera added onto it. So I'm going to jump off of this PC. I'm going to actually install this SSD with Batocera on it inside a PC, and we're going to continue this process over there. All right, so now that we've closed out all of our windows, we're going to open up our web browser, and I'm going to give you guys this direct link here to a Reddit post. It's going to be found in the description of this video, and that's where you can go and download all of your BIOS files for Batocera. Now, it may not give you every single one, but we're going to do a BIOS check within Batocera once we get everything booted up. But this is going to be a great start to getting all of our BIOS files in one place rather than having to go and individually locate every single individual BIOS file, which just takes a ton of time. So at this link, you're going to scroll down. You're going to see a bunch of different platforms over here. You can see we have RetroPie, RetroBat, RetroArch, and right here, the third one down is Batocera V34. So we're going to go over here and just click download. So this is going to automatically download here. It's going to be zipped up. So we're going to let this do its thing now. And this is where we're going to want to take a USB flash drive or a micro SD card that we can connect to our PC, because we're going to want to add these files over to that. And then once we boot up Batocera on our computer that we intend to use Batocera on, we'll be able to add all of these BIOS files over onto Batocera directly. So we'll come back here once this download's complete in about 7 to 10 minutes. All right, so that has just completed downloading over here. You can see it located right here underneath my downloads. So now we're going to take our flash drive or micro SD card, whatever we want to use to store all of this, then eventually move it over to our gaming PC that we're going to be running Batocera on. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my USB flash drive. This is a Samsung flash drive. So there it is registering. You can see it right here, Samsung flash drive. And I'm just going to exit out some of this stuff here that pops up automatically. So we're going to go over now to our downloads on our computer. We're going to grab that Batocera V34 BIOS, which is still zipped, and just drag and drop it now onto our flash drive. Or if you are using a micro SD card, you can go ahead and do the exact same thing. It'll just register differently over here. So once this is complete, you can see, let me open this up. You can see it located right here. Now I'm going to click on it. Now right click on it, drop down to show more options. I'm going to go back into 7-zip and extract our files. We'll confirm it with OK. And it's going to do its thing here, fully extract. It should take just a matter of a few seconds, in all honesty. Really a quick process on here. And there we go. So now we have our zipped version and our unzipped version. So we'll go up here to our zipped version. We no longer need this. We're going to delete it, just so we don't get confused later on. So now if we were to open this up, you can see we have 3 folders in here: BIOS, ROMs, and saves. Inside BIOS, we can find all of our BIOS files. We also have some that are zipped in here as well. So we are going to now close this out. We'll X everything out here. All right, so now we've X'd out of that. Next thing we need to do is we need to add some ROMs onto our SD card or flash drive, whatever we're using, so we have those accessible when we jump into Batocera on our intended PC that we plan to use Batocera on. So I'm not going to show you guys where to get ROMs. You can Google that. You can find them pretty much all over the internet. Just try to find a reliable place to get ROMs from. Once you do, download them, move them onto your flash drive, just like we did here. Pretty much exactly the same steps. So I'm going to shut down this computer. I'm going to install my SSD into my gaming PC, and we're going to fire that up and boot up into that Batocera build, which is going to be just an empty Batocera build. No games on there yet, no BIOS files yet, and we'll continue the process over there. All right, so here we are booted up into that SSD, in this case, that I put Batocera on brand new, fresh. This is how it looks on here. There's a couple collections populating in with just a couple of games on here, but all in all, not a super flashy and well-polished system by default. Looks like 13 games on here total by default. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect our SD card or our flash drive, whatever you chose to use for storing your BIOS files. We're going to connect that to our PC. Once we do, with our keyboard plugged into our PC, we're going to hit F1 on our keyboard. That is going to open up our file system here. So you can see I've added that Samsung flash drive from before right over here on our left column. So if I click on that, I've added a bunch of different games for a bunch of different collections. But over here in the first folder, you can see that is where we're going to find our BIOS. So we're going to open up the BIOS, and we're going to select all. So you can hit Control A on your keyboard or just highlight everything in here. Control A is much quicker. From there, you can either hit Control C to copy or right click and just hit copy right there. Now we're going to go back over to our left column and we're going to click on BIOS. Once we click on BIOS, this is how it's going to populate in. We're simply going to right click on anywhere in this open space and just click paste. Here, you're going to get some confirmations here that just say there is already a file with the same name in the same location. You can choose to overwrite it. You can skip it. It doesn't really make any difference. I'm just going to overwrite everything. We're going to get a couple of them because by default, there's a couple of them already added into Batocera for us. So we'll overwrite them or skip them, whatever you want to do. It really makes no difference there. And now you can see everything has been fully added in to our BIOS folder inside of Batocera. So now what we can do is we'll go up here to File, and we're going to click Close Window. Now you can see that we are back here on our main page in Batocera. So now we can go ahead and hit the space bar on our keyboard. That's going to open up our main menu. From here, we're going to go into Game Settings, second option down. Go ahead and hit Enter on your keyboard. And now if we hit our arrow key up, that's going to bring us all the way down to the bottom of this list. And we are going to go into Missing BIOS Check. So we'll just highlight that, hit Enter. And now if we scroll down here on our Missing BIOS Check, you can see there's a couple of these that are missing. Some of them are just untested, like this one right here. So we'll scroll down and we can see exactly what we're missing. And then we can go in and just do a simple Google search and find some of these that are left off. Now, you may not even need all of these, but if you go into a game, let's take Neo Geo CD, for example. It's not a collection that I actually dive into much at all. In fact, I don't think I ever have, to be perfectly honest. If I did, I jumped into a Neo Geo CD game and I found that the games weren't functioning properly, then I may start going through this list and adding in or searching for these with just a simple Google search and then adding in all of these BIOS files. But a lot of cases, you don't necessarily need all these. So we're going to drop down here to back. We'll select that. We'll go into back again. And here we are back in our main menu. Escape on your keyboard is going to exit that completely. So we're going to go back into our file system here with F1 on our keyboard. And we'll jump back into our flash drive or SD card, whatever you chose to use. And here you can see I've added in a bunch of additional ROMs here. So these are ROMs for a bunch of different collections. So I'm going to demo for you guys what the process is for adding in ROMs. So all of these here, and I will mention, you'll notice that these over here look different from these over here, and every game collection may differ slightly. A lot of them you need to go ahead and make sure that you unzip your ROMs prior to moving them over. Some other collections, you don't unzip them at all. So for this particular collection, all of these, except for this one, this is just something from my flash drive. All of these are unzipped and they are Dreamcast games. So here you can see the title. There's no ending there that indicates that this is zipped in any way. So we're going to right click and copy these. Now we're going to go over to our left column here in our file system. We're going to click on ROMs and we're going to locate our Dreamcast collection. Everything's in alphabetical order here. So we just look until we find Dreamcast. There it is. We'll double click on Dreamcast and we're just going to right click anywhere in this open space and simply hit paste. They're going to add in here. They do take a little while for this particular collection. Some games and ROMs are instant. Some take a little while to actually copy over. Here you can see it's going to take about a minute and a half, give or take. So we're going to let it do its thing here. If I was just adding one ROM, it would be pretty much instant. I think it would take like 25 seconds or so. I did a bunch of ROMs here. So we'll let this do its thing and we'll see how it looks once it's complete. All right, so those have added in there, and you can see how they populate into your Dreamcast collection, just as they were on our Samsung flash drive. So Dreamcast is all set here for this demo. We're going to go back over to the Samsung flash drive. So all of these were Dreamcast. This one for Amped 2 is for Xbox. So I'm just going to do the same thing, right-click, copy, go back over to the left column, click on ROMs, locate my Xbox collection, which should be down towards the bottom. There it is. Double click, right click again, click paste, and now Amped 2 is going to load in here. Xbox is one of those later collections, a lot of advanced graphics, just bigger files in general. So this one for just one game is going to take about a minute or so. So we'll let it do its thing here. And then we're going to repeat the process. I believe we also have PS2 and Gamecube that I'm going to demo with you guys here in this video. So we'll let this count down the next 30 seconds or so. All right, so Amped 2 has loaded into our ROMs folder for Xbox. We'll go back over to our flash drive. And what else do we have in here? We have Fight Night Round 2. This is an ISO file for the ROM. So we're going to right click on this, hit copy, and this is for PlayStation 2. So back over to that left column, click on ROMs, and now we need to locate PlayStation 2, which should be just below midway through here. There it is over there. Double click, right click on the open space, and click paste. And this one's going to take about 40 seconds or so to fully add into this collection. All right, so Fight Night Round 2 fully loaded into the PS2 ROM collection. So now back out to our flash drive, and the last one here is Mario Kart Double Dash. This is for Gamecube. So we're going to just do the same thing. Copy, jump over to the left column again, click on ROMs, locate our Gamecube collection, which is right over here. Double click, right click, go ahead and paste the Double Dash ROM in. This one's a quick one, and this is an ISO as well. So we'll let that load in. There it is right there. And now that's all I'm going to demo in terms of adding ROMs on here. We've got a couple collections ready to go. So we'll hit File, Close Window. That's going to exit us back to Batocera. So now if we scroll through here, we're going to notice that none of those collections have populated in. So we need to hit our spacebar on our keyboard. That's going to open up our main menu. And from here, we are going to go down to Game Settings. We'll select that with Enter. And our first option under Tools is Update Game Lists. We'll go ahead and hit Enter to select that. It's going to ask us to confirm. We'll go ahead and hit Yes. And now all of those collections that we added games to have added in. So we have Dreamcast here, PS2, Xbox right there, and Nintendo Gamecube. Now, if we open up this collection, you can see we've added in Mario Kart Double Dash, but this is how it looks. Not really polished, doesn't look very nice like this. So I'm going to show you guys what we need to do from here. We're going to hit Escape, back out a couple windows here. And now we're going to open up our main menu again. We're going to go down here to Network Settings, and I want to connect to Wi-Fi. So I'm going to first hit Enable Wi-Fi. Once that's enabled, we'll go down here to Wi-Fi SSID, and you can see whatever is local to you. I'm going to go ahead and set up mine, and now Wi-Fi key, that is going to be your password. So I'm going to enter in my password and go ahead and hit Enter. So we actually had to hit the little check mark in the right-hand corner there on screen. Once that's populated in here, you're going to notice that it still says not connected on here. It may take a little while for you to actually get this connected. Just depends on certain speeds. We're going to go ahead and hit back though. And here it just says Wi-Fi enabled. So if we go back into network settings, it still says not connected here. Again, it may just take you a little while. If for some reason it doesn't connect for you, just reboot your system. It may take 2 or 3 reboots. It's just one of those finicky things when you first do your initial Wi-Fi connection, but it will eventually switch to connected on here. All right, so I just rebooted my system, and now if I go into my main menu here and we jump over to network settings, you can see I am connected in here. So everything did connect on the reboot, as I mentioned prior. So what we're going to do from here is, if we back out, you can see the theme on here is extremely basic. If we jump into our collections, we're not going to have any data that's scrapable. So what we're going to do in here is we are going to go back into our main menu, and I'm going to show you guys really quick, now that we're connected to the internet, how we can scrape data so we can populate in video previews, thumbnails, logos, and all that for each of our games. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop down here to Scraper. We're going to select that with Enter, and once we're in Scraper, it's going to look like this. Scrape From is going to be set to Screenscraper by default. And with Screenscraper, you do need to go in separate from Batocera, use another computer or your phone, and set up an account with Screenscraper. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to scrape any data. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this video that's going to walk you through the entire process for scraping using Screenscraper. It's a pretty involved process on here, so I don't want to spend too much time on this video diving into that. So I'm going to actually switch this over to the Games DB as my scrape from option. This is a little bit more basic, but the result is not as good as what you're going to get from Screenscraper. Again, I just want to do this to show you guys what the process is. You do need to create your own account with Screenscraper, but once you do, you can go in here, plug in your login information, and you'll be able to follow these steps that I'm going to walk you through on here really quickly with Screenscraper. So again, I've just switched this to the Games DB. So what you're going to do is just go down here to Scrape Now and hit Enter. Once you do, you're going to see a little progress bar in the top right corner. I've actually already gone through this process on this particular build just to speed this up for you guys. So now if we go into any of our collections, we'll drop into Dreamcast, for example, you can see we have some still shots for each of the games that we added into Dreamcast. Now, Virtual Tennis does not actually populate in. That's how everything else was looking prior to this. It's kind of one of those weird things with this particular scraper, but again, Screenscraper is going to get you video previews, still shots, logos, all that good stuff. So again, drop to the description of this video. There's a direct link in there. It's going to take you through the process for Screenscraper. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys here is if we scroll through, Our theme here is extremely basic, not a whole lot to offer on here. So I'm going to show you guys how you can go in and add additional themes that are a little bit more customizable and just look much cooler, to be perfectly honest. So we'll open up main menu. We're going to drop down to updates and downloads. Once we select that, we're going to jump into themes. And you can see here, this is the themes downloader. It's going to add in a bunch of themes that we can download. And we have a little preview on the right hand side. So I've added a couple of these. If you want to add additional ones, all you have to do is just go in here, hit enter, and confirm whichever one you want to download, and it's going to download. It'll only take typically just a couple minutes. So once you've downloaded a couple different themes, or maybe you just want one, you can add as many as you'd like. Just make sure that you have enough space on your SSD or hard drive. Once you've added them, you'll get a little confirmation in the top right corner. So if we open up our main menu, once they've downloaded, you'll go into UI settings right here. We'll select that. And the first option under appearance is theme set. We're going to select theme set. And you can see we have some additional options now. I've gone and added in the Artflix Cobalto theme. So all I have to do is select that one. And now you see theme set is set to this new Artflix Cobalto theme. All we have to do now is just back out, and it's going to load in that theme. So I'm going to back out of the main menu altogether. And this is the theme. You can see great graphics on here. We have a limited number of collections, but for every collection that you add, you're going to have new images here. And let's jump into Nintendo Gamecube here so you can see how it looks within each collection. So this is the layout here. And again, if you use Screenscraper, you're going to be able to see a video preview over here in this little TV screen. So it won't be just a still shot like we have here. It'll be an actual video preview, which is really cool. But you can see at the bottom, we've got the cover art, we've got the title, description, producers of the game, type of game, release date, how many players it is, all that good stuff. And if we had multiple games on here, we'd be able to scroll on that right-hand side. The reason it says double dash all those times is just because we only have one title in here. So we'll back out and I'll actually show you guys Dreamcast, because Dreamcast we have a couple different games. So here is Dreamcast. You can see that scrolling list on the right hand side, and every single collection is going to have different graphics and slightly different layout in terms of like the TV screen and all of that. And it just depends what themes you use. Every theme is completely different. So that just makes it a little bit neater, a little bit cooler looking on here, and certainly more customizable than your standard carbon theme that comes on here stock. So I'm going to back out, and now I'll walk you guys through the controller setup page here really quickly. I'm not going to walk through the entire process there, but I'll just give you guys a quick little preview as to how to go about mapping your controllers. And again, I have some more involved and more detailed video tutorials for all of this pertaining to Batocera setup. So I will put some additional links in the description of this video. So if you want to see exactly how to map certain controllers and go through advanced settings, or maybe troubleshoot different issues that you may come across along your adventures through Batocera, then definitely check the description. All of those links will be easily found over there. So we'll open up our main menu. We're going to drop down to the third option, which is controller and Bluetooth settings. So first you need to know whether your controller is going to connect via just USB connection or whether it's going to be a Bluetooth controller. So I have a PlayStation style controller that is wired. I'm going to just plug that into a USB port on my PC. You'll get a confirmation up there at the top. You see it says USB joystick connected. And now we can go into the first option, which says controller mapping. We'll select that. We'll get this confirmation. We're just going to hit OK. And now it says one gamepad detected. So with any button on your gamepad controller, just hold down whatever button you want. It's going to populate in there and bring you right into your configuring page. And for me, it says gamepad 2 because my first connected device here is my keyboard. So anything after that is going to be 2, 3, 4, and so on. So here on the screen, you can see a bunch of different controller functions: A, B, X, Y, start, select, up, down, and all of our directions, shoulder buttons, trigger buttons, all that good stuff. So you're just going to assign each of those on-screen functions with the functions of your controller. So first option here is A. I have a PlayStation style controller in my hand, so I don't have A, B, X, or Y labeling. I have the shapes. So A is going to be circle, B is going to be X, X is going to be triangle, and Y is going to be square. So for A, I would hit my circle. I'm just holding it down. It populates in as button 1, and we move on to the next function. So B is going to be X. I'm going to hold down my X button, and we're going to go through this process just like that. Again, link in the description of this video for a bunch of different links for a bunch of different controllers that I've done tutorials on that show you exactly how you would set up those individual controllers, because sometimes this one's particularly easy. It follows the functions on screen really well, but stuff like a GameCube controller is a little bit funky, and a bunch of other controllers out there can sometimes be a little bit confusing to set up, especially if you're going to be using this for like an arcade stick or arcade cabinet sort of setup. So description, drop down there. You're going to see a ton of links that are going to be a huge help to you as you navigate your way through Batocera. All right, guys, hopefully you're still with me. Hopefully this video was a help to you guys getting kickstarted here in Batocera. If you have additional questions, feel free to hit me up directly. Always happy to help out any way I possibly can. Again, drop down to the description of this video, though. You can check out all the additional videos that I've done on various aspects of Batocera. I think they're really going to be a huge help to you. So again, that's going to do it for today, though. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button on it. It's a huge help to me here on YouTube. And of course, check us out online, www.retrogamingguy.com. And of course, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all future videos here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for the support and for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.